Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am so excited to meet with all of you about online convalidations. Christian will be a huge help in today's webinar. Just a little introduction. Christian and his wife, Christine Meert, are the founders of CatholicMarriagePrep.com. They were married on July 2nd, 1977 in France. After 14 years in their community, Christian and his wife felt called to dedicate themselves to help couples build strong Christ-centered marriages. And in 2004, that's when Catholic Marriage Prep was born. So Christian will be covering online solutions for marriage convalidations. Please note that we will be recording this webinar for those who could not join today. For that reason, we will mute everyone so the audio is clear. We try to keep this webinar about 30 minutes because we want to respect your time. So the presentation will be about 20 minutes with leaving questions in 10 minutes. And I'll leave more information in the chat so you can please look for more instructions in there. Please ask your questions in the chat. We will answer them at the end. If after we answer all those chat questions, if we have more time, we can, I'll unmute all of you and we can answer some live questions. So Christian, can you hear me all right?
Oh, yes, I hear you very well. Do you hear me too?
I can hear you very well too. So go ahead and get started.
Okay, so thank you for this introduction. Ashley, yes, convalidation is on the rise. For us, Catholic Marriage Prep, on just the online, last year, out of these 7,000 couples we had 14% were convalidation. So it's on the rise. So I received many questions from you all, and I hope you will get the answers you're looking for to all these questions. So first, let's start with prayer. Thank you, Lord, for all these couples who are preparing for marriage. We want to entrust them to your care. We know you love them dearly and count on them to bring your light to many around them. Lord, make us worthy of the missions you have entrusted to us to serve marriage in our respective community. Amen. Yes, Ashley already told you, we've been married 45 years, 5 daughters, 14 granddaughters, both in France and in the US, and France, yes. So that's why you have the accent too, okay? It's all included. We started the marriage prep in 1999 at the request of the Archdiocese of Denver, the request of Archbishop Chaput. And everything we have done was at the request of the church. Again, when we launched this first one-on-one mentor-led marriage prep in 2004, it was also at the request of the Archdiocese of Denver. Before going into convalidation, we have to kind of have a quick look, of course, because everything will be kind of fast now, and you will have all the slides later on because we will send them to you, okay? But Catholic, in a Catholic ceremony, it's a sacramental, valid sacramental marriage. In a non-Catholic ceremony, it's invalid. And that's what we are going to talk about mainly, not only, but mainly because of the Catholic who are getting married at Justice of the Peace. For example, they are in an invalid marriage. And when they want to get married in a Catholic church, we call it a convalidation. So there are many different over a combination, if I can say that, okay? And like I said, you can see that in the slides when you receive them. One thing I want to mention is a Christian, baptized Christian, not Catholic, both baptized Christian getting married in a ceremony within their denomination, for example, it's considered a valid sacramental marriage in the eyes of the Catholic Church. And we'll go back to this in a little while. Same thing, unbaptized, unbaptized, any ceremony, it's a valid natural marriage in the eyes of the Church. So civil marriage and convalidation, why? Let's see what St. John Paul II has to say. There are increasing cases of Catholics who are, for any reason, prefer to contract a merely civil marriage and who reject or at least defer religious marriage. one thing to note here also, this is what is said, their situation cannot be, of course, likened to that of people simply living together without any bond. This is important. So their reason, we have a lot of military couples because one is deployed or is going on training, and from one day to the next almost, and then they get married civilly. Even if they wanted to get married in the church, they just do it like this. Or it could be a job, tax, immigration, or non-practicing Catholic. They just want to get married in a civil ceremony, and they say, okay, we'll do it later on at the church, not knowing the consequences for them. Or one has been previously married and has not received a declaration of nullity. We will talk about this too, of course. So why convalidation now? A lot of them is because they want to be able to receive the Eucharist again. They go to Mass, a lot of them, but they don't do it. They cannot receive the Eucharist, or they had deferred their wedding and now they think it's the right time, or they have a child going through catechesis or getting baptized, or we are asked to become godparents and they cannot because we are not married in a church, or deep conversion, and so on, many different reasons. So just a brief word about declaration of nullity. It's not an annulment because the church cannot annul a marriage or any sacrament. I can say that it's a valid or invalid marriage, of course. So after, based on the authority of the church and natural law, the judge will declare the reality of what it is. It's invalid or valid. If it's invalid, so they can go and get married in a Catholic church. If it's valid, then of course they cannot get married. In declaration of nullity has no effect upon the children. Of course, they are not illegal, okay, or illegitimate. They are their children. What is a convalidation? We want to make it very, very clear because the word can, be misleading, okay? Convalidation is not a renewal of a previous intention to marry. It's the creation of a valid marriage in the sight of the Christian community. It's a new creation. It's nothing to do with whatever has been done in the past. So it's not a blessing. A lot of time we hear it, say, oh, I'm going to have my marriage blessed. No, when we talk about convalidation. No, it's not a blessing. If they are both baptized, they exchange the sacrament of matrimony. It's not something kind of recognition of an existing situation. No, not at all. It's a new situation. So just a word, because there are questions. I've been asked this question, so I answer at the same time. If a Christian couple, both baptized Christian, validly married in another denomination, they want to enter into the Catholic Church, they just need a piece of paper. It's called a radical sanation. They don't have to go through convalidation. They don't have to go through marriage preparation, which is not the case for cohabiting couples, of course. But in that case, we need to go through VRCIA, different. The canon law requires proper preparation for entering the sacrament of matrimony, just like for any other couple, engaged couples. But at the same time, it has to be more specific, because if every couple is unique, their situation is even more unique. But they have to go through the theological, sacramental aspect of the marriage preparation to know what Christian sexuality is, just like any other engaged couple. But since many of them have been civilly married for several years, sometimes many years, they have a family, so we have to adapt, and that's why we have a very specific track for the convalidation. We have a specific track for all the couples, and we have a specific track for older couples in convalidation. Just make sure that we understand it's different. And yes, the life skills segment is different, but a lot of things are different, of course. And this is very important. But that's why it's a beauty of the one-on-one because every instructor will talk to one couple in their specific situation, and they will and can customize each couple's specific needs. Another question about premarital inventory, refocus, prepare and bridge, fully engage, great tools, and there are more, of course. Here we talk about the online Catholic marriage prep for convalidation. So the method first, it's self-paced. That means the people can take the time to talk and process the information. We don't lecture them, we offer them the teaching of the church. We ask them questions so they can think, discuss, talk, and then we give them the answer of the Catholic Church or the teaching of the Catholic Church, but only after they have discussed. And then when they receive it, they will talk again about it. So we offer them, and it's their choice to say yes or no. And then they own it. And when they own it, it's great because they want it. To answer our questions, we have 8 sessions, and they last as long as we want, because if they want to talk for 2 hours about one topic, let's give them 2 hours. It lasts 3 months and more if necessary. It's in English, Spanish, French. We also have bilingual English-Spanish, bilingual English-French, and we have specific mentor couples in Vietnamese. So even if the program is in English, then people can, the couples, they can answer in Vietnamese and receive answers in Vietnamese, but the rest will be in English. So our mentor couples are trained, certified, they are paid, they are our employees, and they journey with each couple. It's a great way to do it. The way it's all based, we focus on active learning, because we know that lecture doesn't work. What we want is them to talk, discuss, to talk and talk again, and write down their answers. And then they have kind of to convince their future husband or wife about what they believe in. So it makes it, our goal is to understand what they get and what they want to implement in their married life, not to just give them teaching for the pleasure of giving them teaching. We want them to really own their learning. Now the content. Faithful to the magisterium of the Catholic Church, based on St. John Paul II theology of the body and the teaching of the Catholic Church. Nothing funny, nothing on our own, not our opinion, that's for sure. And we have the imprimatur since 2012. Now, here are the content of the 8th session. I'm not going to detail everything, but we'll see few things, okay? Little snapshots about it. Knowing you better, very important. They give us some background information, who we are, first marriage, Catholic, not Catholic, etc. And from there, we match them with mentor couples of the same background, or where we can build great trust, pretty fast. The easy one is if a military engaged couples come, well, they will be paired with a mentor military couple. That means or they are still in active duties, or they have this experience of the military life that is so specific. Then we go into the God's plan for humanity. Well, Genesis, theology of the body, right there, immersion complete. And it's very good because, again, we build the trust with the couples, with the church, with the scriptures, with God the Father after the sin. Very, very important and interesting. Then we move on with the sacrament. Well, we just go into it. And what is the grace? What is the sign of the sacrament? And what can they expect, each couple? Then we go into the St. Paul letter to the Ephesians, and it's very, very good. So we can see how marriage images the love of Christ for the church. Then we go into a formation of conscience in our society where relativism is so prevalent, where people think that what I think is good, it's okay, I can do it. No, we want them, if they want to get married in the Catholic Church, to understand that they have to form their their conscience at the teaching of the church. It's not what they think. It's they have to do this. So after that, then we can talk about, the hot button like contraception. We go into the rite of marriage. Then we analyze every sentence and we talk about all the different important topic: cohabitation, sex before marriage, contraception, abortion, reproductive technology, child rearing, family of origin. And they have to dig in and exchange and talk again and again. Then forgiveness, your body is a temple. We were the first one to introduce porn and all the information about porn since long time, so 2004 again. Life skills, we talk about relationship and everything since day one. I mean, since the first session from Genesis, Adam and Eve and God, all this. And it's all tailored to each couple. So this is how it's presented when we do it online. We give them resources, as you can see there, and then we ask questions, and it's pretty nice, very well presented. Here, for example, second question in the program, if you had to describe God, how would you describe God? And then they have to talk about it. Then they have to write down, and then we give them the answer from the church. Again, same thing, resource, questions, and then we discuss. Here, about the sacrament of matrimony, we don't ask them what is a sacrament of matrimony. We ask them what is sacred. What's your definition of sacred? What could be sacred in your life? And then be able to exchange and write down. So we have also very specific questions that are only for convalidation. We talk about the sacrament of matrimony, what it is, if it's not sacramental, why, etc. And we explain again why the convalidation is the actual marriage itself. So we want them to really get it, that it's not a second-class marriage, it's the marriage. It's a sacrament. They exchange the sacrament, they exchange their consent, and that's how it's a sacrament. So over specific rite of matrimony, what does the commitment you wish to make now differ from your civil marriage? We want them to think about it, why they want to do it now, why they didn't want to do it at that time. And this is very important also for a lot of couples looking for convalidation who have been married at Justice of the Peace, for example. They participate to Mass, they come to Mass, and this is what Jean Paul II says: the aim of pastoral action will be to make these people understand the need for consistency between their choice of life and the faith that they profess. They say they are Catholic, well, act as Catholic people. Again, do you accept the challenge to abstain from sex until your wedding day? We had that question many times before the presentation. Yeah, they do. They have to. We have to give them we ask them the questions. They answer whatever they want. We are not judged or anything. Then we give them the teaching of the church. And convalidation specifics again for relationship tools. What do you want to do? Why did you change your mind? Why do you want to be different? What do you want to be different in your relationship now that Christ is part of the equation? And we have to talk about it. What's your own life project? What do you want? Meaning your common goals. List 5 things you expect from your religious marriage. We want them to think about it. So this is briefly, of course, and we have, going to answer to questions we had also. This is some feedback we had from couples who went through convalidation. It actually made us tackle some topics that we haven't really gone in depth with, even after so many years of being civilly married. We have had surface conversation about most of the topics, but never had to sit up and say, okay, look, this is happening. This prep has opened our eyes to recognize that there is a deeper walk in marriage. Christ walked with us. And this is what's happening. A lot of couples had not had deep conversation, even after have been married for many years. Here's a couple past age of childbearing. This is important. It integrated my faith with my relationship with my wife in a new way. It's about time, okay? Now I'm looking forward to serving the church with my husband in full communion. Very interesting. Here again, same thing. They enjoy the quality time this course allowed them to have, and you know, it's great. But they see again, great opportunity to have important conversation. They never had it. They were running, and here, conclusion, they want to pray together. They want to go to mass together. They want to be active in the church. So this is a brief overview of the program itself. It's a new creation. It's convalidation is marriage. They are going to exchange their consent and be, you know, receive and give the sacrament of matrimony. So this is important. Now I have already some questions I would like to take a few minutes. We just covered, you know, most of it, and like I said, you can ask us questions and go deeper into the program if you want, and have a one-on-one webinar deeper where you can tell us about your specific situation in your own parish, what kind of you know, needs you have specifically. So that's why, and now I want to answer to some questions in that second part, you know, the last 10 minutes, questions I already have. And if you have questions, you can put on the chat, and I will try to answer within these 10 minutes, or I will answer by email, okay? Or just ask for, well, a phone call or a webinar or brochures or whatever you want. You have this possibility too. So here, that was a question, very important, and I already answered, but I want to answer to everyone. In your experience, how much extra work is this for a pastor? Okay, so this is important because, yeah, that's a good question. It's less work because you send the couples to Agape Catholic Ministries. We journey with them for as long as it takes to help them understand what they are doing, because that's the goal of this, is what they are doing. And yes, the couples who are coming for convalidation most of the time are more intentional than, you know, all over engaged couples. They are to be part of the parish and give of their time, talent, and treasure. You have no idea how many pastors tell us, wow, this couple who went for marriage prep last year, well, guess what? They are involved in the parish. We do this or that. It's very interesting, I think. Here, what are the circumstances that would allow for convalidation? Well, it's for any couples who was married in an invalid marriage, mainly civilly married, but not only, okay? They have to be made aware of what is an invalid marriage. If they come to Mass, it would be easier, of course. How do you want to reach out to people who are not going to church, not interested? More difficult, of course. What are the pros and cons of including couples needing convalidation as part of general parish marriage preparation gatherings? Very important question. Each couple is unique. Their needs are unique. They need to journey with form mentor couples, not only volunteers. Volunteers are great, of course, but form mentor couples, so they don't give their opinion. They give the teaching of the church. The one-size-fits-all marriage prep is sometimes difficult to handle with people coming from so many different backgrounds, and especially in convalidation, might have been married for years. They have children. What do they have in common with a young couple? Well, not a high school sweetheart couple, but it happens. And we're always afraid when they come. But anyway, no, what do they have in common? They have to have something in common. What is important is to organize social events like engage couples evenings, even a potluck, where they can meet and have time to socialize, and then they understand what they can do in the community, in the parish. That's important. How can I be part of assist in the ministry? Well, parish companion. We have a specific program that's called Parish Companion. How to welcome couples to the parish, how to guide them through the church, tour them, give them a tour, okay? Give them a tour, tell them what's available in every parish, invite them to Mass. You go to Mass, okay, what time? Can we meet at that time? Can we meet after? Can we have brunch with, if it's in the morning, on the Sunday morning or whatever? So they feel welcomed. That's very important. A lot of them are kind of afraid. How do we solicit those who have been married outside of the church in a targeted, effective way? Very good question, very difficult to answer. When we go to Mass, why don't we talk? I mean, you, pastor, deacons, why don't you talk about the sacrament? Why don't you have a series, like every Sunday for a month or more? You talk about the sacrament of matrimony, what it is. I remember I have talked at a school Mass, and I was asked to talk about the sacrament, and I talk about the sacrament, and then there were couples here, right there, and they say, wow, does that mean I'm not married in a Catholic church? And I say, well, let's talk about it. And there were people, they raised their hand and said, well, same thing for me. I've been married at the Justice of the Peace, but I'm parishioner here. I come to Mass here. I have my kids at the school. And they don't know. So explain what the sacrament is, what is a valid sacrament and an invalid sacrament, what are the sign and the grace. Incredible, the number of people don't know that there is a grace attached to the sacrament. And is it their fault? No. Can we judge them? No. It's just a situation. And so talk about the sacrament of Holy Matrimony, the joy of being fully part of the community. A lot of them hopefully don't receive the Eucharist, and they would like to, but I think it's complicated because of this, because of the amount of paperwork. I had a lot of questions about the paperwork. Well, it depends of every diocese, of course, so you have to check with your tribunal to see what kind of paperwork you need, but normally it's pretty simple. It's nothing very, very complicated for people who have been, take always the same example about two Catholics getting married at Justice of the Peace. It's not complicated at all. It's more complicated if they have to have a declaration of nullity from a previous marriage, of course. So check with your tribunal, and they will help. I mean, we had a lot of help from our tribunal. The joy to be fully part of the community and the impact on their children. Because if, Dad, why you don't go to communion? Well, blah, blah. Well, so, and why not? We have done it in our diocese here in Colorado Springs and in our parishes, convalidation presentation, just to kind of clear the air, explain that it's not such a huge problem. But the paperwork, yes, there is paperwork, of course. We want to know if they have not been married previously, of course, but it's not huge. So give them some presentation. Make sure they have heard enough so they are not afraid to ask for more. This is the important part. This is only, of course, for the people who are participating in the parish or going to Mass. And a good thing also, invite the parishioners to pray for the engaged couples, not only convalidation, all of them. So you have prayer warriors who are going to pray for them. This is so, so important because it's a spiritual fight. We are at war. That's what Virgin Mary told to Lucy at Fatima. The last battle will be the fight for marriage and family. And we are not blind. We can see it all around us. So yeah, pray, pray, pray. That's what I would say to all of them. So what are the results, the fruit of this online mentor-led one-on-one? We are appalled by the video-based marriage prep, because it doesn't go very far. If they go and watch a video by themselves, it doesn't go very far. Even if they have multiple choice questions, it doesn't go too much. You know, I'm always a little sad about this. So what are the fruit? Here they are. And remember, last year, about 7,000 couples from all around the world, not specific parish, they are not pre-screened or anything like this. They come just like every couple you have in your parish, convalidating couples or not. So when they say they are abstinent until their wedding day, before, maybe 10%, it's not a scientific number, but maybe 10% are abstinent before a wedding day. After the course, after we went through the program, 77% they say they want to abstain until their wedding day, because we understand the meaning, they understand why. If we don't give them the why, of course, they are not going to do it. But now they understand, they went through, yes, formation of conscience, they understand the meaning of sexual, and so they want it. Contraception. We had Catholic nurses. They had never heard about natural family planning until they came to marriage prep. But also, same thing, we have to tell them the why it is. And after we go through this, 73% of them, they want to say no to contraception. They want to go to natural family planning. Same thing for your participation in parish life before it's irregular, so we have not even a guess, okay? But after, 98% of the couples, and that's what it's all in the feedback that we give to the parish, to the priest, to the clergy, the deacon. We give this feedback and their intentions. Are they going to do it? Yeah, hopefully yes. Maybe not, but still. So 98%. If they say we receive a lot of surprises, guys who wants to become Knights of Columbus. Well, if I'm a deacon and I have a guy who wants to be a Knight of Columbus, well, I'll make sure he gets the right contact. Or she wants to teach religious education, I will make sure that we will contact her to do that, or sing at the choir, or any activity. Okay? So that's what I wanted to tell you. I cannot answer to live questions, sorry. And all the questions you have put in the chat, I will have your name and everything, and I will answer personally to each one of them. So I want to respect your time, and I want to thank you for your participation to this webinar.
Thank you so much, Christian. That was amazing. And I was able to answer a lot of questions in the chat individually. So thank you for those who sent questions. I hope you learned a lot today in today's webinar, and please join us in our next webinar series. But thank you again, Christian. That was great.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Have a great day, everyone.
Have
Bye.
a great day. God bless you.